In tonight's Biz Blitz, for those protesting a hike in the minimum wage, don't say we didn't warn you. McDonald's reportedly is testing a new mobile ordering app that could replace workers behind the counter. Back with Scott, Hadley, and Lawrence. So, Scott, be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, I think so, David, but this could be a pretty good cover for those who don't like this minimum wage increase, because I think this is going to happen anyway, frankly. If you walk into a fast food restaurant, David, or a casual dining place, look around. You know, look at all the people that are buried in their phones anyway. Everybody loves apps. Everybody loves these anti-social media devices that we carry around with us. So my guess is this was going on anyway, and now they're going to blame the minimum wage hike as a result.
Hadley, you know, the IMF usually has some pretty goofy answers to the world's problems, but one of the goofiest I ever saw was when the head of the IMF, Ms. Lagarde, was talking to her own list claimant, saying that the way to get more people jobs is by raising the minimum wage. Let's take a look at that.
You know, big business in America, and frankly small business, says that if you raise minimum wage to something that's a bit onerous, then that will hurt jobs, that we will lose jobs. You don't see that?
In the short term, there might be some jobs lost, but when you look at the significant increase of income that poorly paid people will have, we believe that in the long run it will be net positive for the economy and for employment as well.
You know, I know a lot of economists, and granted, it's an inexact science, but there are very few of them that argue that it will create jobs. Most economists just argue about how many jobs will be lost if you raise minimum wage.
Exactly. I believe that science is pretty settled. The fallacy is in believing that the entire economy is driven purely by consumer spending, and we can increase consumer spending simply by an artificial increase in wages through regulation. But you can't blame McDonald's for experimenting with cool new technology to give us our cheeseburger faster. That's actually progress, and the automation of different things like ATMs, they might seem to replace jobs, but in the long run, these are actually good for us. More productivity, more innovation, more jobs. This is economic progress, so I can't wait to use the smartphone app at McDonald's. I think it's a great thing.
Lauren, you can't stop progress. I mean, the taxi drivers in Europe just had this huge strike. I happened to be over there when this strike happened against Uber.
Right,
the app that you use that has you put in where you are, and the car is there waiting for you. What happened during the taxi strike, when there's a strike of taxis, what do? You use Uber. They had an 8-fold increase. The taxi strike had exactly the opposite consequence of what they wanted.
Well, Uber, a car-sharing app, Airbnb, a home-sharing app and website, these are disruptive markets. This is technology coming in and filling a void, linking up people and items. It's disruptive. You can try to fight it, but look what wins out in the end, right? As for the McDonald's issue, you can't fight technology. Technology is going to put us all out of jobs one day. Unless you're making the technology, you're probably losing your job at some point in the next couple of decades. McDonald's is ahead.
It's going to make us all richer.
Well, that's a great point. The fact is that, Scott, eventually there are all these other businesses that come as a result of new technology. At first, some people lose their jobs. In the end, more people get jobs. Don't you think?
Oh, it should be celebrated, David. I mean, technology goes a long way to preserving the planet, to creating jobs, as Lauren mentioned. So it's certainly something that companies should be promoted to innovate, not actually deregulate or disregard with regards to how they manage their businesses.
Okay. On to issue number 2 for the panel. Is the White House overstating pay inequality? News today, the top paid CFO is now a woman, Oracle's Safra Catz, bringing in a whopping $43 million in 2013. Lauren, what do you make of this?
I think it's great. I love to see her as the top paid CFO, who happens to also be a female, but her base salary is not even $1 million. So I say step in the right direction. We need to do a lot more.
Hadley, what do you think? Does this kind of make it easy to discount that talk about pay inequality?
I think the White House and the media in general is terribly wrong and doesn't interpret the pay statistics as they should be interpreted within the context of the different choices that women and men make. But we have to congratulate and salute each of the members of this highly paid CFO list. They've made a lot of sacrifices individually. They've taken a lot of trade-offs to be in that position. And that's what it boils down to, is what kind of trade-offs are you willing to make? Do you want to maximize your salary, or do you want to maximize something else in your life? Maybe you want more vacation time. But this is a conversation conversation about, women in the workforce that's actually a lot more complicated than the White House would have us believe.
Well, Scott, when the folks in the White House and Congress start talking about pay inequality, it's not far along from where they actually try to put in legislation that affects all of our lives. Do you think evidence like this coming out that maybe their argument's pretty poor to begin with will stop that?
I doubt it, David. This is Washington we're talking about. They love to interfere. But, one leader here could be the tech sector, David. If you look at the next 5 to 10 years, think about all the jobs will be created. We talked about technology. Women still are grossly outnumbered in that sector, sometimes 3 to 2 to 1 in, say, leadership positions and what companies call tech jobs. So that area is one where women will make a lot of progress here, and maybe those regulations will go away.
But Ms. Craig, Safra Katz, Lauren, there's a lot of women in very key leadership roles here.
Craig,
Melissa Mayer.
With Accenture, Safra with Oracle. Yes, but like I said, steps in the right direction, but just small steps. And to Scott's point, women are greatly by men in Silicon Valley.
But Hadley, are we going to see these sort of arbitrary attempts by the government to try to equalize something that may not need to be equalized?
Well, we have to make a distinction between parity and equality. I believe in equal opportunities for everybody, but we have to recognize at the end of the day, people may make different choices, again, that don't result in 50% male and female in every industry, in every job, every hour of the day. We're going to make different choices, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of sharing the world with different people.
Thank you, panel. Thank you very much. Coming up, the IRS says Lois Lerner's emails are long gone, but we've got your emails and tweets right here. Your reaction right after a break.